She is completely unexplainable. You think she's a good girl, but once you get to know her, you realize she's everything. She's crazy, she's funny, she's honest, and you'll never know what she'll do next.
Yay, we're back, we're back. And this time today, I brought naturopathic Dr. Randi Shannon. And this is a girlfriend of mine. She's a girlfriend of mine that I spoke to about some of the instances. If you saw the first podcast that I had, which was why did you leave Miami? Okay, one of the reasons I left Miami was because I want to say tricked or duped into this dental surgery, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I was telling, and Ben wanted me to go ahead and tell the rest of my story on camera because I was talking about this dress, how, well, you know, it's kind of got the cleavage thing that my dad wants, and he said, you've got to show your tits in all of these podcasts to get my viewership up. I don't know if you agree with that. You can message down below, agree, yay or nay, agree or not. Do you like the Calvin Klein dresses where I'm covered up to here, or do you like the little chance opportunity of this all popping open? Because this is what happened to me last week, and I wore this dress, and I looked in my closet today, and I was like, wow, everybody really liked that dress. But then I found out after I left the event that I was at, where everybody was like, oh, I love your dress. You look so great.
Oh, my gosh.
I all of a sudden put my hand down here, and I'm like, it feels like it's open, but you know, I can't really see because there's like a barrier there. So I was like, and it was the first time I'd worn this dress, and I was like, I think it feels like I'm unbuttoned.
Oh, no.
So anyway, I had to have this man who was there.
It is a cute dress.
He was a
It's
total
beautiful.
gentleman. He said, look, I'm usually used to unbuttoning these, but I'm going to help you, and I'm going to button these. And he buttoned me up all the way up. And then he said, wow, you got some kind of superpower at that top one that's just not going to let up. That's staying right there. Because Ben was just asking me, do you want to maybe unbutton another button or something like that? I'm like, no, Ben. I'm like, I don't think I can. Everything will come out, you know? So anyway, but then I also wanted to tell you, I don't know how much I want to share, but I did have a great date last night.
Oh.
And you were asking who it was with. And I'm not going to say who it was with, but it was someone. This is the hint I will give. His name is the same name I was going to name one of my sons.
Okay.
And I have 4 daughters. I never had a son. And I ran across him again on a dating app.
Okay.
Which is how we met originally, like 8 years ago. And I actually swiped left on him, which if you know what that means I didn't like him. I didn't like his pictures.
See
But
you later.
hey, don't take that to heart, because I haven't dated anybody in months, and I swipe left on just about everybody. But then after I swiped left and I saw his picture, I saw his pictures, and and then I saw his name though, and his name is very different, and I thought, oh my gosh, is that who I thought it was? And I looked back at my Rolodex of people in my phone, of 14,000 people in my phone, and notes and pictures. And I saw his pictures, and I thought, well, that could have been him in those pictures. So I sent him a message and said, hey, is that you I just swiped left on?
Oh, my gosh.
And he goes...
And he'd never know
And I
if you
said, I
swiped
thought you got
left.
married. Because I had seen something on Facebook that he had some major thing going on. And I knew had seen a woman. I ran into him a couple times when I lived in Miami. But anyway, so they're not seeing each other anymore. We had a lunch date on Friday, super nice. And then last night he had me over to make dinner for me.
Very nice.
Which was also very nice. But I was like, look, just so you know, it's a Monday night. I got my podcast on Tuesday. It's going to be an early night for me.
we need you to be sharp.
It's going to be an early night for me. I don't know. I don't usually drink on Monday night because I've got my podcast on Tuesday. And he's like, well, we can share a bottle of wine. Can't we? We can share a bottle of wine. You know, and he was going to make dinner for me. And I talked to my girlfriend. She was like, oh, he's going to make dinner for you? Yes, you got to do it. You've got to do it. So anyway, that was a very pleasant date. So we'll see how that goes.
Very
but
nice. Well,
anyway.
congratulations on that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Well,
in Miami, we're not dating. It just doesn't feel like nobody's dating as much.
I know. Well, the thing is, too, I think that people don't take time to get to know each other, which is what we did last night. We talked for I think we talked for the most time we've ever talked before. Like I said, I couldn't even remember how many times we'd seen each other before. I kept asking him, and But then the more we talked, the more I found out I had in common with him. So it was really amazing, actually. I said, wow, I'm glad I'm taking this time to talk to you tonight because I didn't realize how much we had in common.
Yeah.
And how much he has in common with my dad.
Oh,
Who is
okay.
someone that is a very important role model to me, you know? So that would be amazing.
Yeah.
To find someone like my father, who I just think is a bomb.
Well, and that's how you and I met.
Yes, exactly. That was going to be
through-
my first question for you.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
Your father sought me out for some health help many years ago, like maybe 2016 or something like that.
I was going to say not 20s.
Yeah.
Not 20 years ago.
No. And so he said, oh my gosh, you're like the same height. You have blonde hair. She lives in the beach. You guys should meet. And so he put us together. And
Yeah.
then we've been friends ever since. Although, you know, we had a little bit of a lull in there. And that's probably when I had, you know, gone back to school and was moving on in my career. And you were doing your thing, you know, in the beach. And I didn't go into the beach a lot at that time.
Yeah, you lived in Coral Gables. This is one of the main reasons I moved to Coral Gables was Randy.
Yeah.
Because I had made such a good friend of Randy and some other people. You'd invited me out in the boat. And Snowboat, which we referred to here before when one of the other guests was here, was Rick Sykes.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. And so we had I already had a bunch of friends there. And so when things started getting to where I wasn't happy in South Beach anymore and I wanted to change.
And you were going to actually go to, you mentioned Texas. And
I was looking all over.
And I was like,
during
why
COVID.
would you want to go there when you don't know a soul and your kids aren't there?
Yeah.
So, and there's no ocean. I mean, there is, but it's
Remember,
not like
I rented
here.
a car. I rented a car and drove up the other. I'm on the east side now here in Boca Raton, but I thought no. I'd heard about great things on the west side, which I lived in the west side with my ex-husband and had all of my kids over there for 15 years in Naples. But I rented a car and went up that west side, and on my way back, I called Randy
Yeah.
and said, I don't know. I didn't really get the feeling like that's where I should be on the west side. I'm going to come back to Miami. You know, you always say, do you want to come to dinner in Coral Gables? This is when I lived in South Beach. I said, well, I've got a car. I rented a car because when I lived in South Beach, I didn't have a car. So I rented a car. Do you want me to come and visit? So we went, where did we go? Morton's?
Yeah, I took you kind of all
Right there
over
on the Miracle
place.
Mile during COVID. So everybody had on these masks sitting outside.
Yeah.
But I looked up and down the Miracle Mile, and I thought, I wonder if I could ever live here. And that's.
And it's actually, Coral Gables is really, really a nice place to live. So, you know, there is good people. It just seems like people are detached anymore. And that's the
You
part
think
that I
so?
don't love about it. Yeah. I don't know if that's everywhere, but it's,
I think that's Miami.
yeah,
Do you?
it could be. It didn't used to be like that. It used to be really tight-knit and very close, and it just doesn't feel that way now.
Yeah.
So, but it's still a beautiful place to live. Beautiful.
Well, I
and
have
the
to
ocean is
say,
gorgeous.
I love it here in Boca. I'm going to show you around today in Boca.
Okay.
Meisner Park, my hood here. Just see what you think.
Yeah.
Give you the look-see. Anyway, so tell me exactly what kind of a doctor you are. What do you specialize in? Because I know, but our viewers don't know.
Okay, so as a naturopathic doctor, my specialty is 5,000-year-old original medicine. So the things that people are not born with but get later in life, those are what the medical community calls incurables, and I say they're all reversible. If you weren't born with it, it's all reversible. And the medical community only knows what they learn in the books, and they learn cutting and surgeries, prescriptions, that sort of thing. Whereas I actually look at the face, the fingernails, and the tongue. And if you think it doesn't work, I mean, this is 5,000-year-old original medicine. So when you take a tree, for example, and you cut it in half, you can see if that tree was exposed to fire or pestilence or flood, and it tells the life of that tree. And our faces, our fingernails, and our tongues tell that same story. What have you been exposed to? Which of your organs are in trouble? The kidneys, the liver, the spleen. I was just, next door waiting for you guys to get here, and I was talking to the real estate guys, and I did a quickie analysis on them because they asked me what I did. And so one of them had a spleen issue, a couple of them had liver issues, and I just point that out. And, if they want to follow it up to actually get that reversed, then they can do that.
So I know this is what you're famous for then, right?
Yeah.
Now, how were you driven to this particular niche? Because it's a very, very specialized thing. How did you decide, nope, this is what I'm going to target?
Yeah.
How did you decide that?
Well, when I was a little kid, I used to get urinary tract infections. And, when you would go to the doctor, he would take the little popsicle stick, the tongue depressor, and he would hold your tongue down. He would cover it up. And this particular doctor didn't. He just kind of put it on the tip, and he was looking at the rest of my tongue, and he asked some questions and told my mom some things. He was a very holistic provider. And after that, I never got another urinary tract infection ever again. So that always stuck in my mind. I was like 8, 9, 10 years old when that happened. And then as I was going through school, I life comes at you, and you kind of sometimes have to put school off. I had 4 sons. And,
like I had 4 daughters.
Yeah, a full life.
She had 4 sons. How do you like this?
Yeah.
So we had them about the same age.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I finally went back to school and became a naturopathic doctor. But when I was going through school and did my clinicals, I found that I really didn't love any of the other modalities, but I resonated with the one that I do now because I just found it to be the most effective. There's no guesswork in it. It literally, I look at somebody and see exactly what's going on in their body in that moment. It's very quick.
Right.
So, and the Asians did this forever. This was original. This is the way original medicine was. And so now I operate in about 18 different countries, clients all over the world. And I do a lot of radio, a lot of podcasts. And my first children's book, I just finished it. It should be out maybe on the market by tomorrow, I'm hoping.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for 3 to 6 year olds, because I believe that we need to start teaching from a young age. The food pyramid was a lie. The medical system as we know it is mostly a lie. And they're not good at chronics. I'm fantastic at chronics. That's what I do. You don't want to go to anybody, you don't want to go to them, let's just say, unless it's surgery, like an emergency type of situation.
Which brings us to what happened to me, right? So I'm laying in this dentist's office in Coral Gables, Miami. I hadn't been to the dentist in a while. And actually, I had gone to him like the year before, and then he found something amazing that I needed to have done. And so I thought, before I went in, I thought, whatever I do, I'm not going to get talked into anything. Well, famous last words.
Yeah.
So then he tells me I need to have, my gums are receding, which I'm a little bit sensitive about. I know my gums are receding. And so he said I needed to have you called it a frenum, right? Or he called it a frenum.
Frenula.
Okay. He said I needed to have that lasered off. Now, me not knowing anything about surgery or anything like that, I'm thinking ultrasound, not a big deal, ultrasound. So he said, when do you want to have this done? I said, now. Let's do it now. It was like in December. And he's like, really? And I'm thinking, let's just do it now. Let's just get it over with. That frenum, whatever it is, frenulum, let's just get it out of there. And then my gums will stop receding. I didn't look into it too much because I didn't think it was a major surgery. But then when I went in the next day and I was lying on his table and I felt like they about had me like strapped to the chair. Oh. And he was laughing at me because I'm funny. He's laughing, but I was like a bit hysterical. There was hysterical jokes I was telling. I was like, oh great, he doesn't know where he's supposed to sit. Oh great, he doesn't know where the tools are. Like, oh, who is this guy? Like I'm like, and then he says, if you start to smell barbecue, you're gonna know it's working. And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, barbecue. And then I'm laying there and he starts lasering, which then I find out as he's doing it, it means he's going to freaking burn off my thing that attaches my lip to my teeth.
Yeah.
And I started smelling barbecue.
Oh.
So I was like,
this is horrifying.
Oh my gosh, no, I know what he's talking about. That's me. He's burning off my lip.
Yeah.
It's barbecue in here. But I kept making all these like snappy things that he just thought was hilarious. He was laughing his whole way through it. And, but then I was like, geez, out, wait a minute here. And then he was like, what do you want? Do you want us to stop? And I said, well, geez, now he's got this side burn off me. Am I going to say stop? Then I'll keep this side hooked up and this side not hooked up. So anyway, I said, just finish, so I'm not lopsided. And then afterwards, I have to say, I was emotionally traumatized by the
Yes.
whole event because I did not expect that.
And you called me when you were still going through that trauma. You were crying. And you said, did I need this? I said, yes, you needed this. And that's the thing with me. I'm about saving body parts, not removing them. If we were born with them, we
did I
needed
need
them.
it? I didn't need the surgery, but I needed that part of my lip.
Yeah.
That's
so
what she
it's
meant.
literally underneath here, above your front teeth, and it's the connector skin. That's what frenulums are. And we
You
have
have
a
'em
couple
right
of them in our
here.
mouth. We also have it on the underneath of the tongue. You know who got theirs cut out?
Who?
Gene Simmons, the guy with the tongue that comes way out.
Oh, okay.
He got it cut out.
You knew that? You knew that, Ben?
Yeah. So he got it cut out so that he could have that. We need them. They keep us connected. Okay.
So Randi says to me, what? You got that taken out? She said, well, geez, I use that to make an analysis of my
Yes.
patients.
Yes.
You need that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like, what am I going to do now? I was like, you know, and people are telling me, oh, you should sue them, you should do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. You know, what's that going to help? I made the poor decision, right? So I did talk to a lawyer, but I'm like, look, this is not me. I'm not going to sue anybody. That's not going to make anything better. But I did go in there the next day and said, look, I did not understand what was going to happen. It was not properly explained to me. And so you really need to rethink what you're doing and how you're treating your patients. And I never went back to that dentist again.
Well, the thing about what they lasered off was that will grow cysts on it. It's an early indicator if you have polyps in the body. Bleeding hemorrhoids, if you have them, chances are that is going to be balled up like you have a cyst on it. It can happen on the underneath as well. So it's very digestive, colon, intestine. The underneath the tongue is more large intestine, whereas the upper one would be more small intestine. So it's a sign, and that's the thing about our body is our body gives signs, and when we allow them to remove organs, we lose that ability to have those signs. I can't even count anymore how many gallbladders and kidneys and livers and lungs, because signs show in the face, fingernails, and tongue, and if people come to me and they get an analysis from me, then we are very preventative, number one, and number two, a lot of these things, you know, are reversible. It's like you're driving the car. It's supposed to be an 8-cylinder Ferrari, right? But you're driving it on 2 cylinders. You're not feeling so good. And so, you know, we put all of the nutrient back into the body so that it starts functioning on the 8-cylinder.
Exactly. Well, anyway, so with all of my holistic health background, chiropractic, everything, I made the dumb decision I did. You know, all right, so I'm just here to teach you guys so you don't make the same dumb decision I did, because, you know, before you have something done like that, don't try to get it done on the fly. Research it. Make sure you're doing the right thing for you. That's all I'm here to say. I always like to come out with a lesson of everything bad, or I don't consider anything bad that happens to me, but I just always believe that there's a lesson in everything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, and another lesson that I had is, well, I wrote about it in my blog.
Yeah.
And this was a particular blog where I actually mentioned Randi in it at www.beingtracy.com. I don't write on there anymore, but this is one particular blog. Da-da-da-da!
Blog time!
Woo, the blog time. Okay, so this is one particular blog that got up the person that I wrote about. I never mentioned their name, but it affected her. So I, out of sensitivity to her, I did take it down. But years later, after I wrote it, I don't see anything in it that calls any direct attention to her. But the funny thing is, she was recommended to me by Randi.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking for which blog I'm going to write about, Randi encouraged me to write this, and it was a year after it happened.
Because it was so funny. The story, just the way you told it, was so hilarious.
Well,
I said you got a story for the blog,
let's see if
for sure.
this is if you guys think this is funny. All right, so I started. Good morning. So one of my friends thinks the story about my stressful masseuse is so funny that she is dying for me to share it on social media. It is the story about the masseuse that ended up making me so stressed out that the day after she gave me a massage, I had to go for another massage from someone else. And that masseuse didn't believe I'd had a massage the day before because she said I was so tight and stressed out. I was introduced to the stressful masseuse by a friend, actually, that same friend that loves this story. Randi Shannon, has been pushing me to put it in blog form for over a year since it happened, and I told her about it. Okay, I really never had a relationship with the masseuse, except that she would come and give me a very deep tissue massage every week.
Yeah.
And I was asking her, Randi, do you know anybody I can get for a good massage? So
And this lady is fantastic. She really is.
She was amazing, but her deep tissue massage would always leave bruises, which I was okay with because I like the deep, hard, deep tissue massage. However, this turned out to be a sore spot with the stressful masseuse when she found out about it. However, until then, I didn't really know the stressful masseuse personally, but she was married to a chiropractor and was a beautiful young woman who dressed very provocatively and ended up who dressed very provocatively and, however, really seemed to know her stuff using tools, chiropractic instruments, as well as deep tissue with her hands. Okay, the only thing I ever did with the masseuse outside of getting a massage was invite her to my birthday party a couple of years ago, since I wrote this blog. And she came to it without her husband and ended up staying late and partying, dancing with some of my friends. I don't know why, but after that night, things seemed to change between us. Following that party and her meeting my friends, the next time stressful masseuse came to my house before our massage, I reached into the fridge to get some water. Now, mind you, I don't cook. I don't have a lot of things in my fridge. But that particular day, she was watching me, and she looked in my refrigerator, and I had a lot of beer that had been in there for weeks. And she said to me, "Is that beer in your refrigerator?" I wasn't sure why my masseuse was asking me what I had in my refrigerator, but I also wasn't sure that question even deserved a response. Like, since when does my masseuse care about what's in my refrigerator? Except that this was maybe going to be evidence that me living out of balance. I don't know. So, however, it wasn't based on factual information. The beer is not mine, but it was brought by a guest that and it had been in my refrigerator for quite some time. I wasn't even noticing it anymore, but there was a big case of beer in there. I didn't drink beer. I really don't drink much beer. So anyway, another time she came in and said upon entering my apartment, "Didn't your cleaning lady come?" Signifying to me she didn't believe that I kept my house very clean after the cleaning lady came this week. Extraordinary that this is the conversation that my masseuse drags her table through my door and asks me, "Didn't your cleaning lady come?"
Oh my. See, it's just all of this. She's like judging every bit of your life. It's so hilarious.
All right. Extraordinary that this is the conversation as my masseuse drags her table, through my door to massage me. The next question she asked me was if I had been working out at all. To which I responded, yes. I had been working very hard on getting in shape and going to the gym, no less than 4 times a week. And I don't think I told her this, but I was just like, yes, I've been working out. That's right. Yeah, I've been working out.
Because we were all working out at the same time.
Yeah, we were working out. They were coming over to my gym.
Yeah.
We had Marisol Rodriguez was our trainer. She would come and train us in my gym.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were all working out. All right, so I responded, yes, I had been working very hard, And she said, however, to this response, the masseuse just laughed. Now, I'm not sure I have to tell you, but when the woman who has been touching your naked body for weeks asks you if you've been working out and then laughs, that can be quite cutting. The next thing she said was that I had been hitting it hard drinking lately. This was surprising to me that she would say this to me because she never had spent any time with me except for my birthday party, which for me was a flop because I ended up walking home alone early at 9 p.m. after the birthday party July 21st, 2021 was the year. However, this woman, my masseuse, actually went out dancing and drinking until late at night with some of my friends from the party without her husband. I didn't know where everybody went. I just finally just picked up all my stuff and walked home by myself at 9 o'clock. I didn't know where everybody went. I couldn't find anybody.
They were all out.
All right.
I was not at that party that year. I think I was out of town.
That's right. I had no idea where they went. She said her husband came and picked her up at the end of the night, but I kind of find that hard to believe since it was so late. But still, I didn't question her. However, something at that party made this woman start judging me based on fictitious information that she had made up in her head. I started wondering if she was displacing judgment of herself onto me because she was the one who was out partying without her husband that night on my birthday. It wasn't me. I actually walked home and went to bed very early, completely sober, to my dismay. I had shared a lot with the stressful masseuse about my relationship with Flake, the guy that lived in my building. And at first she was super supportive, but then hearing how many times Flake was a flake to me, she quickly lost her support for him, thought I was being taken advantage of, and now after the fact I would agree. However, at that time in my life, that was where I wanted to be, and judgments from my masseuse were not welcome. Okay, one time she even told me to say something to Flake in another language, like a dialect that she thought he would know with his background being from New Orleans. She said to ask him what it meant. All right.
She was from that area, I think.
Yeah. Right. And
sounds like she was trying to set you up. Like
Well,
in a bad
something.
way. Yeah. I don't
so
know.
the stressful, I felt like there was nothing good that was going to come anymore from this relationship. The stressful masseuse didn't want to tell me what it meant. I was like, well, tell me what it means. She told me to ask him. Like now, she and my boyfriend were going to have some secret word together that they both knew that I didn't know. And I was trying to remember what it was. I don't know. It might have been Cajun. I think
Cajun?
like they say Cajuns live in New Orleans. That might have been the word. Because I was looking it up today. Like, I was asking Surrey, what are words from New Orleans that are indicative of that territory? It might have been the word Cajun. I don't remember. But it was something like that. She was like, I'm not going to tell you what it means. Just ask him. Like she wanted him to have some kind of a secret word with her. I didn't like that at all. That was weird. I didn't ever tell him the word. I didn't see any reason to mention her name to Flake and start a relationship between him and my stressful masseuse. Flake is very handsome. I didn't blame her for trying, but I wasn't going to mention something to him about her to draw interest into who my masseuse is, which is what I thought she meant to do. She wanted me to do. The final blow happened when she came to my house and in preparation for my massage asked me what the bruises were on my leg. I told her they were from her, my last massage. I told her that I didn't mind. I reminded her that I take a deep massage and she does it very well, but that I easily bruise. I'm okay with that. Following this massage, the woman started incessantly texting me with reasons for my bruises that had nothing to do with her and accusations of my misconduct to the point where if I had my ringer on, I could hear numerous unending texts come through my telephone telling me off being judgmental over her over and over again for days. And even in the middle of the night, I was receiving texts. And then I tried to respond to her. And finally, the stressful masseuse had blocked me, so I couldn't. Can you imagine, like, you're getting all these texts like, ding, 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 and they're all from your masseuse telling you reasons why you might be bruised instead of her. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
And then I got a bunch of text messages.
She started texting you too, right?
Telling me that I basically shouldn't be, friends with you, and God only knows what else was in there.
Anyway, following this massage, the woman started, I said that already. So this was honestly, I know, I'm sorry, Ben, I'm not doing very good marking my reading, so I know where I stop. I got to learn how to do that. But anyway, this was honestly the most stressful masseuse ever. In the end, I ended up blocking her because I just couldn't have the drama anymore. The relationship took its toll on my body. It was unfortunate because I really thought a lot of her, and she was married to a chiropractor, which is the business of my family with the American Chiropractor magazine. However, some relationships are so toxic that there is nothing more that you can do than permanently block. Unfortunately and surprisingly, this was one of those relationships.
Yeah.
And as I'm just recalling right now, it wasn't until I just had moved to Boca that I got her last message from me saying, take that blog down.
Did you take that down?
I took it down, but
Yeah.
now I'm reading it in public on YouTube and
Well,
Spotify.
you haven't mentioned a name at all. You
No.
Nobody. No.
I don't have any intention
No
of
one in
drawing
the world
any
would
negative
know?
attention to anybody. It's just a talking point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so how would
It
you feel if
happened.
that happened to you?
It was your real story, and you do have a right to tell your real
Well,
stories.
I only wrote blogs that made me feel passionate about what happened. Like, I have to be passionate enough to sit there for a while, and I would post pictures, and I would write, and for me to remember all the things. I wrote this a year ago, but it was still very fresh in my mind. You asked me to write it, though, because you couldn't stop laughing about it.
I was cracking up because you're on the table, you're getting, judged by what's in your refrigerator, you're getting judged on the condition of your apartment as she's coming in.
I know.
It's like, whoa, I go back out the door. Go back out the door.
Like, how's that going to make you feel relaxed,
Yeah.
So I couldn't get
You
rid
were
of that
stressed.
beer.
You were so
I
stressed.
couldn't get rid of that
You
beer in
got
the
a
refrigerator
massage
quick enough.
after the massage because you
Yes.
were so stressed. That was probably the clincher
I
for
had
me.
to go get a massage the next day, and the girl didn't believe I just had a massage.
That's what was so funny about it.
What about the beer in the fridge? That
I was thinking about the beer in the fridge. I think it was Bush beer because that's what Flake drank, and he would bring over like a pack of that to my house because he liked to drink Bush because that's my last name. So that just brings us back to more of the toys that Ben told me to bring today. He said, "Are you going to bring some toys to put in our shelves here?" And I said, "Toys?" I said, "I forgot to bring the toys that you were talking about." I said, "Oh my gosh, that was a total flashback of the other Ben." Toys. Into my podcast? What are you talking about, Ben? Where are you going with this, Ben?
Merchandise.
He meant to decorate these nice little stands behind me, which I haven't yet done because we just find things around the room here to put in my shelves. But Ben told me today to bring some toys when I come in. So that I was like, toys? Ben, what are you talking about?
What kind of
Ben?
toys do you have, Tracy?
So anyway, whatever. Now we're ready for the real estate minute. All right. According to Norada Real Estate Investments, October 2023, Florida real estate forecast for the next 5 years, because this is where everybody's wanting to come, is Florida. And I hear our numbers are higher than they've ever been in September. So it's just amazing. So Florida home values have risen by about 80% over the past 5 years, and a positive trend is forecasted for the next 5 years. Within the recent spike in mortgage payments as a result of rising interest rates, analysts are watching the Florida housing market closely to see what effect this will have. It is likely to restrict house price increase, but to what amount is unclear because there is still a, quote, fear of losing out attitude among purchasers, which is fueling the market, although slowly. It is no surprise that Zillow ranked Tampa, Florida as one of the top top real estate market in the United States in 2002. Florida housing prices have witnessed some amazing, most dramatic increases in the country, with Miami and Tampa at the forefront of the upswing. Due to a variety of variables, the housing market in Tampa has outpaced many others, including a large number of potential buyers, a scarcity of supply, strong property sales, and an active employment market in the area. Overall, the Florida housing market is strong and is predicted to remain so in the next 5 years. If you are a seller, this is a wonderful news because it implies your property values are rising and there isn't much selling competition, giving you the luxury of selecting from the best offers on your schedule. Higher mortgage rates may cause unprepared house buyers to postpone their purchases. If this reduces buyer demand sufficiently in some Florida areas, price appreciation may decrease. The lower price increase may provide remaining buyers who can afford high interest rates more confidence in locating a home that they can afford, and that leads to fewer home sales. Whether or not the country enters a recession, the housing market appears to be in good shape for the foreseeable future, perhaps not at the same time or not at the same rate that the United States has lately seen, but growth nevertheless. This is an excellent moment for real estate investors, particularly those interested in Florida, to capitalize on market possibilities. Anyway, how does that make you feel?
You know, I would like to be in the home buying market, but I'm held off I don't know what's going to happen, but when I looked at a house a year ago that was $500,000, I thought, it's kind of a dump. Now it's for sale for 1.6.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow, I wish I would have bought that.
Here in Florida, property values keep going up no matter what, and even though there were the sales numbers were lower last September, the prices were higher. What sold was higher, even though there were less actual units sold. So it's a perfect buying storm here in Florida, actually. So anyway, for help with all your real estate needs, be sure to ask for me, Tracy Bush Pate, with Keller Williams Worldwide. I have partners all over the world, and I can connect you with someone in your area who can help you with residential, commercial, buying, selling, investing, whatever you want. Call my office at 561-245-4000 or just send me a message at livingtracy.kw.com. And I'd be happy to help you. Randi, do you want to share your contact information and how people can find you?
Yeah. Well, the clients can be anywhere in the world. Right now I'm in 18 countries. They send me pictures. Everything is virtual. There is no walk-in clinic. So they call 844-275-1056, 844-275-1056. And you can go to the website, The Body Can.
Oh, yeah. We have a big joke because
CAN.
I always would not know her website. And I was like, what's your website again? Is it The Body Can or The Body Cam? And she's like, no, Tracy, I don't have a porno site. It's not a porno site. It's not The Body Cam.
It's The Body Can, CAN. Why? Because the body can heal itself. So thebodycan.com/schedule. And then you can just read the pricing, read the packages, and go get scheduled right there. Anytime, 24/7.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, Randi. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you have your favorite podcast is shown. I'm going to be getting back my Being Tracy page on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Being Tracy. You can go ahead and like it. Facebook's in charge now. They've stopped the hackers. So I'm just waiting to get full administration back of my page. So you're fine to go in and like it.
Nice.
And then when I do get the page back under my administration, I'll be able to share. It's going to be so much better than before. I can't wait to show you what I've got in mind.
Awesome.
But anyway, all of your posts, all of your shares, all of your likes are I'm honored to have all of you and be able to serve you in this way. And please message below if there's something more that I can do, a particular guest that you have in mind that would be a great interview for me, or that you think that people would like to hear from. I'd love to share it, more and reach your needs. Anyway, I hope everything's going great for you guys. Sending